Hey guys, what's up? It's me, the funny based man, and this is gonna be my first video. I'm gonna be doing, as you can see, a Kaiserredux Let's Play for HOI4. Yeah, let's just get right into it. Kaiserredux, if you don't know, is it's Kaiserreich, but with a bunch of stuff added, a bunch of sub mods and whatever, kind of compiled into one big collection. It's pretty good. I'm a fan of it. And yeah, I'm gonna be playing it. I'm gonna be playing as the U.S. I mean, the U.S. inside of this has like 5 million different paths and whatever. But in particular, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be playing as I'm gonna get MacArthur, General MacArthur, and his military coup d'état government. And I'm gonna do that whole American Caesar thing, whatever, and. We'll go as long as it's relatively interesting, and I'm going to be playing on Elite, because there's, when you're playing as a major like the US, generally I'll play on like the harder difficulty, because otherwise it's not terribly interesting, there's not really much tension. Not that I'm some like, epic great player or whatever, I have a few hundred hours in the game, and I know how to play it on an all right level, I guess. But don't expect to see any groundbreaking shit, I guess. Anyway, let's get right into it. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna break, because there's multiple ways you can start the Civil War. Right? Like at multiple different points, depending on who you pick and how you do it and whatever. We're going to start it as soon as possible, pretty much. And so it should be by the end of this video, I'll have started it, is the plan. So, it shouldn't take too long, right? Because I won't be super reading through all the events and whatever, but to a basic extent. There's all the people that have done this, and yeah, as you can see, my mouse was a little fucky, so being all weird, but whatever. Anyway, let's just play the game. I'm gonna turn on I like the Holy Classic soundtrack. The audio levels are being a bit weird, so hold on, I'm gonna mess with that for a second. Sorry, this is really amazing content at this point, but I'll just quickly fix that. Maybe I'll edit that part out. Anyway, alright. Yeah. Let's get right started then. So there's pretty much nothing you really do as startup on the U.S. Because the Civil War changes everything. All your the OOBs, whatever, where all the units and stuff are. So none of this really matters that much. I'll just stick them on making a bunch of guns, and I don't know. This kind of matters. I'll make some military factories in Maryland. And New Jersey, because those areas stay with us, and yeah, I won't bother silencing super events, so I'll leave them on. The audio's still not perfect. I'll just very quickly just crank this down just a little bit. Okay, there we go. Navy could not care less at this stage, because nothing that we start will get built by the time the Civil War starts, especially since we're starting it so early, and I don't even know how all those units get redeployed when it starts, so yeah. As for techs, we'll go with this stuff. Yeah. We're going to not actively break things, since we are going to stay as the U.S. I'm pretty sure that garrisoning all our troops in Maryland, these troops will stay with us, so we might as well garrison them here. I won't bother assigning a general, because again, I don't remember how the generals work out. Sure. Okay, maybe not the best move to trade with the Germans, even if it's such a minor trade. We'll trade with Brazil. And yeah, let's just pretty much get started. I mean, let's see, what is there even that you can do as the very opening focuses? I mean, as you can see, they huge focus tree. It's kind of crazy. We'll be going on this path eventually, but yeah, I forgot. Yeah, this gets locked by an introductory event, so let's just do that quickly. All right, United States and 1936. Why is it being weird? Okay, now it's good. Yeah. I guess I'll read this in some of the intervents. I won't be reading all of them, though, for obvious reasons. Okay. In 1936, the United States of America is gripped by unrelenting crisis. Relieved it had managed to avoid the horrors of the Weltkrieg, Woodrow Wilson was the first U.S. president to run and win a third term as the man who kept the peace, alongside his new running mate, former Attorney General Alexander Mitchell Palmer. This political victory was short-lived, however, as Wilson suffered a stroke shortly after his election, setting off a constitutional crisis and struggle for power in the cabinet until Wilson died in late 1923. Until then, Wilson, Palmer, and the cabinet reacted to the French and British revolutions and growth of American syndicalism with increasingly extreme crackdowns on union organizing and eventually a slew of organizations suspected to have connections to the radical left. As workers became increasingly radicalized and anarchist bombers made several attempts on Palmer's life, the political situation deteriorated alongside the economy due to a combination of strikes, political instability, and a loss of trading partners. Palmer's own controversial presidency ended with the election of Herbert Hoover in 1928, who attempted to calm the situation with a quote-unquote return to normalcy, re-legalizing non-violent syndicalist outlets. This ultimately did little to help, as a culmination of speculative investing sent the United States spiraling into the 1929 Great Panic and allowed the Berlin stock market to take its place at the forefront of the world economy. The election of Herbert Hoover in 1928, while initially promising, failed to reverse the decline of the American economy, and the Great Panic has created one of the worst financial crises it had ever seen. This has fueled the rise of radical politics in America, such as the far-left Socialist Party of America. The populists shared the Welsh Society under Huey Long and his National America First Party, and the far-right Old Democratic Party, which places the blame of syndicalist and civil rights uprisings at the feet of immigrants, Republican cosmopolitanism, and liberal toleration of the left. Hoover's contentious re-election for the House of Representatives in 1932 and the ongoing Great Depression means that these problems are unlikely to be resolved anytime soon. Many throughout the country fear that the upheaval that would result should one of the extreme parties come to power or should the Depression continue unabated. God save America. Yeah, God save America indeed. Okay, so now we can actually go ahead with this thing. We're going to make sure that the bill gets shot down, so civil war is pretty much guaranteed. I forget exactly how we do that, but it should become evident once the event happens. Yeah. Oh no, President Krinsky's been killed. Voting rights in the council, that's nice. Those will not last, so I'm not even going to bother talking about that. Yeah. Okay, I can still build more military factories. Oh, because of all the trade stuff. Yeah, makes sense. I don't even know if any of these are going to get built in the end, but I mean, there's no point in not building them. Crime spree sweeps the nation. We cannot spare anything at the moment. I think will be the right move. Let's see. Let's increase funding for the feds. Long and Haywood demand changes. Okay, cool. What is this? Okay, whatever. Deal with the Great Depression. Oh boy. I think that's new. I haven't seen this before. Interesting. Huh. Shipment funding scheme. Oh, there. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Eugene Tam played. Okay, this is just an event to do with Southern Democrats flipping to the more outwardly, fascist, kind of old Democratic Party, segregationist, better term. It's kind of complicated. Anyway, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. All right, senators break ranks. Okay. I'm pretty sure if we just pledge support to them and the establishment centers, I'm just going to save here just in case, even though it's probably completely unnecessary, but whatever. Yeah. So just pledge support to the establishment, and I'm pretty sure it just means there's no way it can pass because of how Congress is in the mod at this point. And yeah. I mean, this mod, might I add, the Kaiserredux mod, okay, the Kaiserredux mod is kind of ridiculous. Like, it adds so much content, it's almost beyond belief, you know, like, Jesus. Because, I mean, Kaiserreich already is, you know, so it's a huge mod. But then this just ends up adding so much stuff. It's kind of crazy. Okay. So, yeah, the big Berlin stock market crash has happened. Yep. Whatever, Afghan war always happens. So yeah, so this, by going after the establishment support, both the left, like the right wing Huey Long's folks, and the socialists are going to vote against it, and then that should completely sink the bill, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so moderate faction was elected in there. Black Mondays hit America, so our economic situation is getting even worse, and all those great constructions I had queued are now untenable. Okay, National Unity Agreement. This one's also important. Basically, there are five parties in the U.S. at the start in this, or I guess there's six actually. Never mind. So there's the old Democratic Party, which is a coalition between, essentially, like, it's the segregation racism party, right? Then this is not the vanilla Kaiserreich lore, might I add. This is the Kaiserredux lore for America, so it's kind of different. But anyway, so you have them there. Then you have Huey Long and the kind of America First people, and it's more of a complicated, general kind of authoritarian. They're kind of ideologically amorphous, pretty complicated, whatever. End up aligning with groups like the Catholics and stuff like that against the Klan and whatever. So they're complex, basically. But they're kind of concentrated in the Midwest and Texas, a lot of their support. So those are two of the parties. Then there's the Democrats, you know, whatever we know. The Democrats in the 30s, you know, they're segregationists to the right. Then there's the Republicans, kind of liberal, Northerners, blah, blah, blah. The Progressives are a social democratic party that kind of exists. Then you have the Socialist Party of America, which are the syndicalists from Kaiserreich, but they're renamed to the Socialists, and they're a bit more complicated. I think it makes more sense, this lore. But anyway, I like it more. So what this event is that the Republicans and the Democrats want to launch a joint ticket in order to make sure that or maybe it's the Republicans and the Progressives, whatever. Some of the more moderate parties want to launch a joint ticket to ensure that vote splitting doesn't happen and that the establishment isn't weakened. And endorsing the agreement obviously helps to avoid a civil war, and we don't want that. So a coalition would debase the democratic system. No unity. Screw that. We can win on our own. It's fine. Report paramilitary growth. Things will be fine. Whatever. Yeah, at least guys gathering guns and stuff. You know how it is. I mean, it's America. Yeah. Poland to Costa Republic. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I feel good about, you know, continuing this series. I mean, there's so many potential things and runs to do inside of this mod and whatever. It's kind of crazy. Not just this mod, plenty of other HOI mods too, but this mod in particular, I do kind of like it. Hits a sweet spot for me. Alright, so some guy died, a tragedy. So we got a new commerce minister. This civilian administration will totally last through the end of the year. The Pope has died. Oh my. Alright. Lag. Alright, it failed. Yay. Yeah, after an incredibly close vote in Congress, the Garner-Wagner bill, so a kind of depression stimulus bill, failed to pass. While several groups are declaring personal victory, protests have broken out in various parts of the country. there will be no relief for the American worker, and many have declared the government to be corrupt and dysfunctional. There will be considerable time for blame, but for the moment, the Hoover government's concerns must turn to the growing violence throughout American cities. Violence which is expected to only worsen in the months leading up to the election. All that for nothing. So, destabilization, radicals gain more political power. This is a pretty bad day for, the American experiment, as it were. So, the bill fails. Now, we're going to immediately start doing War Plan White. This is MacArthur's plan. It'll help put things in place for what we do. We're also going to try and reconcile with Canada to ensure that we can try and get them to back us. Yeah. So, War Plan White. War Plan White is a military action plan to contend with domestic violence or an insurgency. It's time to dust off the plan and deal directly with the growing violence in America. Alright. Socialist Revolution in Cuba. Ooh. Cool. Yeah, I guess that can happen. I actually haven't known. Okay, so dire news has arrived from Cuba today after weeks of instability, and despite providing the Cuban military with ample equipment and training, socialist agitators have overthrown the Cuban government. Where have I heard this before? Worse, many American-owned plantations and other enterprises have been taken over by socialist hooligans. The horror. Already, the staff and Marines at our embassy in Havana are readying themselves to evacuate at a moment's notice. Something, anything, must be done to stop this madness. Prepare to intervene. Let's try to do a coup d'etat, I guess. Don't want to lose control. Reasserting control. Okay, yeah. We cannot sit idly by as American blood is being spilled on foreign soil, and liberty is extinguished. An embargo has already been declared on Cuban goods, and obviously we must directly undermine the new Cuban regime. But how? Let's do a coup. I've actually never had this event chain before, which is interesting. But yeah, okay. So Republican nomination disagreement. This really isn't that important. I'll back Curtis, I guess, because he's epic. Market liberal also gets us a little bit of political power, which is good. I take it a coup hasn't been terribly successful if they're still in power, but whatever. Take a sip of water. Okay. Restoration of democracy and escalation. Interesting. Oh. Oh dear God. Having some laggy. Some lag spikes. Cuban coup fails. No! Oh God. Our attempted coup in Cuba has failed, and with it our influence there has been further diminished. Future efforts to defeat their barbaric regime will surely prove more favorable, but no such opportunity yet presents itself. Horrible. MacArthur can deal with this problem in a few years. It'll be fine. They'll take out them. It'll be all good in the end. Oh, wow. I have not seen that before. Okay, Austria and... Oh yeah, Kaiserredux also reverts Italy back. I disagree with this change mostly, but I kind of understand it. They reverse Italy back to its Italy overhaul, updating Kaiserreich. So instead of having the Papal States, Sardinia, the Socialist Republic of Italy, and the two Sicilies, they instead reverted it to how it was before. Yeah. Okay, so there's some flooding. They'll have to help themselves. Sorry, guys. We can't get an American warlord here without, like a bit of negligence and natural disasters. I mean, come on. You gotta be like, the Qing dynasty. It's, perfectly stable and kind stewards over our empire, Yeah. Okay. So seemingly blitzing Italy. Or how many? Oh, because they're pressing their claim on the throne. Interesting. I again didn't know they could do that. I think this is a Kaiserredux thing. 299 lost, 2,000 lost. Yeah. Oh my, they're almost cutting them in half already. Jeez. Democratic nomination. They've put forward Texas Representative John Nance Garner. Cool. I mean, we're gonna cause a civil war to start immediately with a deadlock in the electoral college in the election. So there's no need to really care too much about the election and its outcome, because there won't be an outcome. The country will collapse. So we get a decision here. So War Plan White. The time has come to dust off one of the American military's color-coded war plans. This one meant for dealing with domestic disturbances and insurgencies. It cannot come a moment too soon, as violence is escalating in areas where the America First Party and the Socialist Party of America have been contending with local authorities for dominance. Minnesota and North Carolina are the two states where the violence is at its height, and at the moment we can only focus our efforts at one place. I'm going to focus... Now, when they say America First Party, they actually mean the old Democratic Party. It's kind of... because some of the events haven't been updated in the wording, but in their effects, they have been... Whatever, who cares? Localization updates always take forever with mods. So we can either focus on weakening the socialists or on weakening the fascists in the South. Now, the South, as you may know, is a chronically underdeveloped region. So they're not actually that hard to deal with. Like, there's a lot less people and a lot less industry and shit down here. So whatever. Same with like the America First people in the Midwest. Like, this isn't a region exactly known for its huge industry. But what's really important and why the socialists are usually the big threat is, they have the Rust Belt. Well, then it was the Steel Belt. So we're going to focus on them. We're going to weaken them as much as possible, and then just kill them, basically, as soon as we can, as soon as the war starts. So let's bring out the National Guard. The violence caused by supporters of the America First Party and the Socialist Party of America is only getting worse. We need to increase funding to National Guard units and put them where their efforts will count the most. So let's do that. 1936 Stanley Cup. Sure. Come on, Detroit. And then I think we lose. I think Canada wins in this event. Yeah, look at that. Toronto wins. Cool. Toronto Maple Leafs winning. Oh, wow. The Stanley Cup? That's crazy. Whew. Anyway. Progressive nomination. Cool. George Norris. Yeah, interesting. Anyway. Not going to matter very much again. Special election with Washington. We can decide who did better here. So it's between the Socialists and the Democrats. Well, of course, pick the Democrats because it makes the Socialists lose political power, which is, important to us. Like, so essentially, we're just going to take every option possible to reduce the strength of the Socialists, even if it comes at, the benefit of other rebellious factions, because, the Socialists are by far the strongest. Alright, so we will do that. Shandong, Clearwater, and Nanking. There's a lot of interesting content in China that often gets overlooked in this mod. Like, the China overhaul was really, really good. Okay, we intervene in Costa Rica. This is a small... I've never seen this event chain go the other way, so I'm not even going to bother talking about it. Basically, there's like a diplomatic spate between Costa Rica and Panama, and then we intervene. I'm pretty sure only the player can change the outcome of that down here, so whatever. It's not even worth talking about. It's just something. Alright, so May Day riots. May Day, International Workers' Day, is a holiday. This is a holiday that the Socialist Party celebrates with numerous parades and speeches, and has since its founding. Generally, things are peaceful, though there have been confrontations with the police. However, this time things are more violent than normal. Clashes between the socialists and the local police, backed up by the America First Party and Old Democratic Party, have occurred around the country. The question is, who is at fault? The socialists declared that things were peaceful till the police and KKK arrived at the scene. The Old Democrats are saying that the socialists began by assaulting non-unionized workers, and have blurry photos claiming that they claim are guns the Socialist Party of America were brandishing. So we can either say the socialists are at fault, which actually helps them gain political power, or that the cops were at fault. We'll say the cops are at fault because we don't want the socialists to gain political power under any circumstances. So the okay, cool. Social Democrats are doing stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting content down here, and all these countries have focus trees, all these various cliques. Panama backs down, whatever. I played as Sichuan before, and that was very interesting because you had to deal with a civil war and then a famine, and then you had to deal with the opium trade. It's like a crazy campaign with a lot of detail, actually. Very, very, very good. Same with a lot of content in this region. Very, very nice, very interesting. And while some of it's fairly small in scale, it's all pretty well polished and cool. Yeah. I'm a fan of a lot of the content in this region. I think it's really good. Yeah. Whoa, look at that. Austria's just taking out Italy. Crazy. Let's see how well they do. A lot of stuff can happen in this region. Okay, the Old Democrats announced their nominee. Yeah, some fascist guy. Yeah, this kind of seems like a wrap for Italy. I wonder what happens, though, to them once they formally capitulate. Alright, so. Bhutan is allied with Mongolia. Okay, so bringing out the National Guard. The National Guard has been deployed for over 6 months now, fighting to maintain security in a number of American cities. But there is a growing fear that commanders within the Guard are not entirely loyal to the Republic, that they may harbor sympathies for the America First Party and the Socialist Party of America. More focus needs to be put on strengthening the units we know are loyal. We also need to decide where to focus their deployment for the time being. So we can either focus on restoring order in Iowa, which will help the Socialists and the Old Democratic Party, or in Tennessee, which will also help the Socialists, but will harm the Old Democratic Party. Of these two, the fascists pose a bigger threat to us, and either option helps the Socialists. So we're going to go for Tennessee. Alright, so another event. MacArthur's plan. Get the Death Note music, yeah. Okay, so General MacArthur has raised a solid point. New York City and Texas are two of our most vital and vulnerable strongholds. MacArthur has a plan which could see one of these areas secured should the violence escalate to a full civil war. Cool. That'll also get us some of our desperate deficit of political power. We are literally losing political power every single day. It's kind of crazy. It doesn't help matters that we're on the elite difficulty, but I digress. Things are not good for, America. What the hell? I have never seen this event before. Oh, this is related to the Ottoman stuff. Yeah. Cool. Huh. So some internal Ottoman political events, yeah. Credit program. I gotta play as the Ottomans sometime with the new overhaul, because it seems like they added a lot of stuff. Pretty unique mechanics and such. Yeah. So I'm just checking on my recording to see how long I've been going. Look at that. Italy's just gone. They're going to capitulate any day now. They're even landed in Sardinia. Oh my. Special election in New Jersey. Don't even have to look at this. We're going to favor, again, the Democrats. So the Old Democratic Party will lose political power. Now, again, what you could also do, maybe I'll do this sometime, is he plays the federal government. I do a different path, obviously, than what I'm going to do, which is the full MacArthur, Caesar, cross the Rubicon, LARP path. But increasing radicalization. We'll read this in a second. But what you could do is you could intentionally favor all of the events in a way where you'll be in the worst possible situation and then fight your way out of it. That could be kind of fun. But I'm not going to do it this time. I want this to be a more chill playthrough. Anyway, increasing radicalization. With the Democrats and Republicans fighting among themselves, as usual, more and more Americans are feeling alienated from the traditional Big Two, and are flocking to the populist America First Party, Old Democrats, and Socialist Party of America throughout the country. In these dark times, the distinction between genuine social reform and graft is hard to distinguish. Those under the radical banner and their political enclaves have received some social welfare with the Share Our Wealth donations from the America First Party, international red aid from the Socialist Party of America, and the machine handouts of white league protections from the Old Democrats. The party machine of these radicals utilizes mass media to a much stronger degree than either the Republicans or Democrats, and it is looking more and more like the 1936 election will come down to Haywood, Murray, or Long. Not great. So, yeah, that obviously isn't good for us. But, hey, things could be worse, I guess. Don't know how, but, they could be. Could always be worse. Yeah. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, Italy. Look at that. Bye-bye. Somehow they're holding out in Rome right now, which is fairly impressive, considering that everywhere else is, gone. Yeah. Sardinia has fallen before Rome, which is kind of interesting. Great heat wave of 36. Not much to say about this. There's a big heat wave. I'm pretty sure this also historically happened. I might be completely full of it on that, but yeah. Big heat wave doesn't help matters. A lot of people dying of heat stroke, and yeah. I like concentrated industry. I'm pretty sure dispersed is better, but I just like having more raw factory output. Again, perhaps I am completely off base here, but I don't know. I always pick it, and I'm gonna pick it this time around. I'm also gonna pick radio, I think. Yeah, reinforce rate's good, especially since we're gonna be going into combat and stuff. Yeah, especially like the factory output, given that we're going to be playing on, well, we are playing on Elite, right? So we have very much reduced factory output, to a crazy extent. So anything we can do to claw that back up is very much worth it, in my opinion. I mean, the primary, malice we get comes from production cap, which is crippled under Elite difficulty, especially early game, because you have all these other things, right? But yeah. Okay, so flow control, MacArthur's plan. We have two events. Okay, so Red Summer, a bunch of race riots, essentially. Yeah, lynch mobs. Basically the burning of Tulsa every day, right? So, yeah, terrible. Anyway, General MacArthur's plan. There is a growing concern that America is descending into a possible civil war, and that despite all our efforts to maintain security, supporters of the America First Party and the Socialist Party of America simply have too much influence in some parts of the country. General Douglas MacArthur has unveiled a plan to infiltrate key areas in either New York City or southern Texas. Both are of high importance, New York for its industry and Texas for its oil, and both are at high risk to take over. MacArthur says these efforts might still come to naught if the America First Party and Socialist Party of America's power becomes too great, but he believes it will greatly increase the government's chances of maintaining control should it become to an armed conflict. So we can either highlight New York or Texas. I'm going to highlight New York and undermine the socialists, as of course I've gone over the reasons for that before. Yeah. So let's demand a repayment of war debts. Maybe they'll repay them, maybe they won't. I think usually they don't, but yeah. Former president's dead. The China events, generic event. I don't know why I'm shift tabbing. Yeah, let's keep going. Okay, so MacArthur's independence state interest. This one's also important. Broadcasting from New York City, Douglas MacArthur gave a radio address this 4th of July that denounced the violence between radicals and promised the American people that the military was more than prepared to restore order. Long sentence. While this is all and good, there is the issue that MacArthur did not even alert the president that he would be speaking to the nation. Charles Curtis is infuriated, but others in our cabinet clearly admired the MacArthur clique and his ability to reassure many establishment figures that he can restore order to the nation. Nonetheless, this cannot be a good sign for democracy, and while MacArthur has too many followers in our military to fire, him, we could reprimand him for whatever it's worth. We will not. Leave it be. Poor Herbert Hoover. Progressive schlock from the GOP. Matters just keep getting worse. How did things get so bad? Lieutenant Governor assassinated. Alright, you know what? Actually, I just realized this video has dragged on to about 35 minutes. I'm going to actually call it here for this episode. I'll pretty much be uploading these episodes more or less daily because I'm going to pre-record them and batch record them, right? So I'll resume from here because I want to try and break them up into 35, 40-minute chunks. And I feel like that's a digestible amount. Yeah, so that was this episode, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I'll obviously be continuing this series. Hopefully in the next episode we'll get to the actual Civil War, at least the very beginning of it, and then we can keep going from there. So I hope you've enjoyed me on this intro episode, and yeah, have a good day.